One.
So you don't think there's a lot to talk about today besides the PPI? Wrong. You haven't been on the pre-market show with me and Dennis. We got a lot to cover. Let's get pre-market prep started.
Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep with your hosts, Joel Elkanin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I'd buy that stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, traders and investors. Let's get the numbers real quick. S&P's continuing to rally, making a new high of the move up 6.25 at 44.23. Dollar under 103, down 19 cents, 102.73. Bonds, wild day yesterday, but up 7/32 at 126.5. Crude battling the $70 level, up 48 cents at 69.90. Gold holding steady, up a couple bucks at 1961. Silver in the green by 11 cents, trying to get back over 24. And Bitcoin, being quiet here, Bitcoin futures, they're up $85 at 26,015. Well, Triple D, you had your eyes wide open after the close yesterday. We had some, this morning, we got some big news on some healthcare stocks.
Yeah, major movement here in healthcare. Money Mitch, we're going to get right into this because we have a jam-packed show here, so no small talk. Right into the movement here. I see UNH trading down 5.8%. Humana trading now down 8% here. These are huge moves for stocks that don't usually move. Mitch, what is the reasoning here?
All right, United Health Group getting hit after a conference. Their shares dropping in pre-market following the CEO's mention of elevated volume of non-urgent surgeries at an analyst conference. What would this mean, Joel? Can you give us a little bit more background?
I mean, it's just, yeah. I mean, they're just paying out. They're going to have to pay out more, for less. I mean, that's it. That's it. But that's not what they want to see.
I think there's such a good point here. If those non-urgent surgeries, obviously many going to be covered by Medicare. So maybe, these companies benefited from COVID with obviously people, staying at home, not getting these surgeries that weren't necessary, these non-urgent surgeries. And now they've all been pushed forward. So what that is saying is that now some of these, that were officially past the pandemic, now all these non-urgent surgeries are going to start getting done, which means Medicare is going to have to pay more out. And with that, when that came out, UNH got hit. So I actually saw UNH and I was like, oh, UNH down $3. There was no news yet, obviously, because the algorithms are all over it. Or if it was, they were, a lot faster on it. The news is probably out there, but it was just really, really quick. And then, I'm like, this is news. I knew it right away as soon as I bought it. So I turned around on UNH and I sold most of it. I kept a little piece. But then I turned around. I was like, I still didn't know the news at this time. So I'm long UNH, and I'm like, I can just tell by the trading action, this is news. And it looks like, and then Humana started getting offered. And I'm like, oh, this is something with Medicare for sure. So then I turned around and I got short CI, and I got short a couple other ones. I got short XLV. So I was just like, turning around and trying to hedge myself off. And I hadn't sold most of the UNH anyways. I tried to short Humana, actually. It was offered down like $1 at 5.11. I was trying to get like 507, 506, 505. Then somebody just came in with like 2,000 at 500. I'm like, well, I'm not going to sell 12 points down. I still didn't know the news at this time. So I'm like, I just know there's something with Medicare. UNH was down about $6, $7 at this time. Humana is now down 12. And I was like, okay, well, I missed Humana. Did get some CI, did get some XLV short because the XLV is full of these stocks. So I actually turned that losing trade on UNH around into a winner by just understanding the relationships and being fast to get on the other side of it. So,
I want to point out one thing that you said there, and it's just from, being old school traders, that we are. You mentioned the size, right? You got a stock like Humana, a stock like UNH. They're in $400 stocks.
Yeah.
When someone shows 2,000
Somebody
shares
knows something.
in the after hours, they're out. They mean business.
Yeah, they mean
you see
business.
2,000 in Bank of America, 2,000 in Intel, whatever, 10,000. You see 2,000 shares one way or another, you better get the hell out of the way. So I just wanted to mention that. Go ahead,
It
Dennis.
took a long
Continue.
time for the news to actually pop out. I'm sure it was out there, but it's hard because this news headline, which was just from an analyst conference, was comments at an analyst conference, and it wasn't just tagged right away there. So after so long, then we got the news, and we know obviously this morning it's easy to tell. But when you're trading these things and you don't know what the news is, all you know is one, when you see UNH start getting offered down, you're like, first thing you question is a downgrade. But then you start seeing Humana go down too, and you're like, this is probably something with Medicare, because I know when Humana and UNH both start going down hard, we've seen this before, it's usually news with Medicare. CVS started going down, that started getting hit, and then you saw other ones like Molina Healthcare, MOH going down. So ELV is another one. It's down $23 now, Elevance Health. So, I mean, if you're quick, and you didn't have to be that quick, there was some opportunities there. Obviously, I often say I trade better when I'm, in, a bad trade, because I know how to, I get a little more desperate. I'm working. I'm like, I need hedges. Because I just took a pretty good hit on UNH, which I did. I took a good hit on UNH. I got long, and then the news, and then it's already, going down $3, $4, $5 more. I'm like, I'm in trouble here. So I'm like, one, I took most of the loss, and I'm fully out of it now. But then two, I overhedged by getting XLV, CI. Overhedged by I did 10 times more XLV. I did as much XLV as I possibly could, but I'm pretty much the only person that was selling it up there, I think, because I was selling at 31.45, 31.40, 31.35, 31.30. There wasn't much in there. I wish there would have been some size, but there wasn't much in there. But I was able to get some on. But yeah,
I want to expand on just real quickly. This is kind of taken up in our talk from yesterday about the algos. Right? And the, picking up this information, like you saw it. Dennis and I clearly see things in the markets before the news hits, right? Just by looking at these stocks and the upticks and downticks, you could clearly see when there's news on something. And then the algos pick up on that too, and they start scratching. And then boom, 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 they're doing their research. Oh, there's a conference. Oh, someone from UNH is speaking. Oh, boom. Let's go. Let's find a comment. But the thing is they process all that information in milliseconds, or minutes. Maybe it took a little longer to expand.
I think you're giving him too much credit here, though, Joel. I honestly think the majority, I think they grab it off UNH very quickly because UNH was the comments from them. I don't think they associate it fast. I think it's actually humans. I think that 2000 offer that went on Humana was a smart human. So this is, again, where the human being has the edge over the machines because they don't put it all together as well. Now, again, maybe AI, when they start trading this market, will put that together just in that process that you just mentioned. But I don't think they're there yet. And by the trading action last night, UNH was quickly offered, which we could see. That's probably algorithmic action because UNH comments coming from them. But it's not like they said, we see profits falling substantially. They said we see non-urgent surgeries going up. So the algorithm's that smart to put that together to say, okay, well, if non-urgent surgeries are going up, that means your Medicare costs are going to go up. That means you're going to make less money. I don't know if they can put all that together. A human can quickly put that together. So there were smart humans that were all over that. UNH was getting hit very quickly. And then the sympathy plays, obviously, because they weren't said, but obviously if Medicare costs are going to go up, it's going to be bad for Humana. It's going to be bad for CI. It's going to be bad for ELV. And, on the flip side, which we haven't talked about here yet, it's going to be good for some stocks here as well. So I have a small odd lot. I tried to buy some. This thing just didn't trade. HCA. So you think bad for the Medicare, but if you're getting more non-urgent surgeries going in, that's good for the hospital stocks. So I've got 3 of them here for you. HCA, which I have a small odd lot in. I will trade out of that today, but I literally have 17 shares. It's like a nothing position for me. I tried to buy more. I cannot get any more. I tried. Last night I tried. I tried again, this morning. It's traded only odd lots today. The volume today is 138 shares. I am 17 shares of that 138. I would love to have had more, down there 283. I don't want to pay up $10 for it. You can pay up $10, but that gives up all your edge. THC is another one. That's up $2 here this morning, so it's getting a pretty good pop here, 2-3%. And then small one, maybe off the radar, which hasn't even traded at all, ACHC. If you have other hospital stocks, let me know them too. Those could be strong here today. See again how my edge is, different than probably what you read in books. I'm understanding relationships, putting the picture together to get an edge, as opposed to looking at the pretty chart and saying, well, cup and handle, this should go higher. There's no technical analysis needed here. This is common sense. Common sense, understanding those relationships makes me a little bit of money and saved me money last night in UNH.
Two things I want to point out there. One, I just noticed the down action in UNH started at 17.19, and really the Humana didn't start moving until 17.32.
So give me those times again.
17.19.
Yeah.
And 17.32.
Yeah, so there you go. It really didn't start moving. I was trying to short Humana. Like I said, I was offering it down, trying to get short. There was no bids, Joel. So you're offering down like $3, $4. There's no takers. So because they're already CUNH, the smart traders see UNH going down. They're like, something's up. I'm not buying Humana. So
we'll put a bow on this. Eric M has a great question here. Dennis, when you want to get short the XLV right away for a hedge, do you use a discretionary limit order to get in between the spread, or you just whack the bids?
You hit bids. You don't play games. Joel, you taught me this back in 1999. When stocks are going up, they don't hit bids. When stocks are going down, they don't lift offers. So all you're doing is picking off anybody who may just be sitting there. So you just go and hit the bid. I mean, these opportunities don't present 100%. Themselves very often. This isn't like something we're going to employ every day that we get Medicare news. Yeah. UNH down. When's the hell's the last time UNH fell 28 points and Humana fell 41 points in a day? Years? A long time. So this isn't something that's going to happen every day, but just, trading experience is like, you get in there and you get in there as quickly as you can. Now, XLV, remember, has a whole bunch of drug stocks and other stuff in it. So you ain't going to see it fall 4% today, 5%. There's a more pure play, IHF, which is your U.S. healthcare providers. That's a really thin ETF, though. So you got to be careful trading that one. That one's offered down $5. So that's a more pure play. But again, even last night, there was a little bit of volume. If you were quick, you could have got 256.5, like 50 shares goes, and then it's down. So, I mean, there's 50 or 100 shares there. There just wasn't size there on any of this stuff. So you're not going to get rich on any of these things because there just isn't the size there after hours. And obviously now, there's opportunity. Sometimes at the open, though, you could get a sleepy opening. You might get an opportunity there to get some size. So that's the discussion anyways, just talking to you about the trading here a little bit because it was very interesting. So, yeah, that's the Humana UNH saga.
All right, let's get over here. Let's take a look at some other news. Of course, we got news from Shell today. We'll run right through this one. Shell's boosting dividend cuts here and cutting emission outlook. Shell boosts the dividend by 15% and discloses a 5 billion share buyback ahead of its investor day. That'll be starting today. Shell's Capital Market Day 2023 presentation starts at 8:30 a.m. here. So in just a little bit, that should be starting up. So keep your eyes to see if maybe Shell gets another little boost here. But nice little push this morning.
Two things. One, Shell trades as an ADR, so we're in the secondary market. So we don't have to worry about this all getting priced in at the open. The stock has already been open for hours overseas. So, I mean, we already kind of know what this in. Two is buybacks they just don't seem to care about them. So they just don't seem to care about buybacks here. CB had a buyback yesterday, and they just shoved it down its throat, and the stock ended up red on a really big green day. So they'll care about buybacks if it's a tech stock, but they don't care about buybacks in oil right now. They don't care about buybacks in insurance companies. There's no AI story here. That's what they're hot for still. So even though these companies are probably pissed off that their stocks are low and they're doing buybacks to try to bring up their price, unfortunately for them, it's just not working because they're in the wrong industries.
All right, let's go ahead.
And then let's go grab Raghee.
Yeah, let's get into our conversation here with our guest. Let's get out of Shell. Let's find out what Raghee Horner has to say.
It always makes me smile to see you three. How you guys doing?
Man, this lady is most complimentary lady on Wall Street, and then right back at you, Raghee. Dennis has something that's sticking in his craw, so I'm going to let him present it to you ahead of the PPI information.
Yeah. So one thing that I ran across, and one of my followers, Andrew, thank you so much for sending me this on Twitter. And I talked about this. I wanted to bring Raghee into this conversation as well here. I've been talking about shrinkflation here, Raghee, and I don't know if you noticed, but when you go into your stores, the products over the years seem to have gotten smaller. So I think, we're safe to say that shrinkflation is a real thing. So I was talking about this on the show a couple days ago, and a follower, I didn't know if the CPI captured this. A follower sent me this, Andrew sent me this great article here, which you can tweet out or follow the link if you want. It's in my Twitter here, but it's from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. And the title of the article is Getting Less for the Same Price, Explore How the CPI Measures Shrinkflation and Its Impact on Inflation. So the CPI does indeed calculate shrinkflation into the numbers. That's comforting until I get to their conclusion, Raghee. And do you want to know what they estimate? In chat, we can throw it out there too. What they estimate the annual shrinkflation rate is and its effect on the CPI. What do they estimate it to be? Take a wild guess. Shrinkflation. What does the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics calculate the shrinkflation effects into the CPI? Take a wild guess. How much percent?
I'm sitting down. I'm ready. I'm sitting down. I'm bracing myself. Hit me.
Yeah, you don't want to take a guess?
Yes, come on, Raghee.
Joel guessed 2%. That shrinkflation is probably 2%.
Oh, I was thinking 2 to 3 times that.
You were thinking 5 or 6%.
I was.
Shrinkflation. Do you know what they calculated in the CPI? How much it's been annually, an annual effect? 0.01%.
On Earth?
On Earth, exactly. 1/100th of a percent. So that means, let's just give this perspective, that the size of your chocolate bar will go down 1% every 100 years, according to the CPI statistics. So now I challenge everything that they do. If this is what they are calculating as shrinkflation, Raghee, if this is what they are calculating, 0.01%, they are either not very good at their jobs or they are flat out lying to us, because this is an unbelievably ridiculous conclusion. I talked about the sunscreen going up 20% last week from shrinkflation. 0.01% is an absolute joke. Whatever you're doing, Department of Labor Statistics, to calculate shrinkflation, do it another way, because we're not stupid. Our products are not falling in size 0.01% a year. What are your thoughts here? Now I just challenge everything they do in the CPI. And obviously, we had a CPI number yesterday, so I wanted to bring this all in the conversation here, Raghee. I just fed you a lot of information here. I mean, we see CPI falling. Are they lying to us about CPI falling? I'm scared now that I see a statistic like this.
One, I should have put a little Bailey's in my coffee this morning because I was not ready for that.
Give me your thoughts.
Yeah. I need a buzz for this conversation. My thought is this, and everything you said is spot on, and it just reminds me of the fact that we are not trading data ever about the real world. We're not trading the real inflation. We heard about transitory inflation last year from the Federal Reserve. We trade what we're told. We trade the reaction, even though you're absolutely right. There's the world of the real, and then there's our stock market.
True.
I have to remember I'm taking, what is it, the blue pill? I'm staying in the matrix. and that I think what I remind myself, in fact, my background on my desktop here is the matrix code, because I remind myself, get out of the real world, Rog. Shrink inflation. That's a British term, isn't it? If I remember, it's a British economist that coined that.
Who came up with that term? It's a good term. Shrinkflation.
The bottom line is I have to trade the bonkers numbers and you're right, the new math. But at the end of the day, that's what moves the market. And you're right. It boggles the mind, but that's the game we play.
So let's bring it back. We got the PPI coming. We had CPI yesterday. And now we, even if we look under the hood and say, well, these numbers aren't real, which they probably aren't, we still have to trade the numbers that we're being told, because that is what the market will react to, is the numbers that are either miscalculated or flat out lying to us. Right. So, Raghee, give us your thoughts here, one on yesterday's CPI data, and then two, PPI is coming in 10 minutes.
Two things I always remember. I can look at whatever expectations are. We can look at the consensus. We can look at the 4-week average or the last handful of releases. At the end of the day, the way that I position myself as a trader is I try not to guess at what's going to happen. I wait for whatever is going to happen. I look at historical volatility and say, all right, is this price action usable? Did it reach a level at which I can buy something or sell something, or is it just beyond historical volatility? And I'll wait for the next opportunity. So in terms of CPI at 8:31, I'm making a decision. On PPI at 8:31, I'm going to make a decision. So there's the part of me that is, Dennis, just like you, thinking, what on earth is the new math that goes on? How do I get that gig? How do I get that gig where I can just make numbers up? What a great gig.
That's a good gig.
That's a
We can,
good
if we
gig.
imagine
Because
our job and we can just make numbers up, we'll just make up our own P&Ls and they're real and we can just use those P&Ls. Oh yeah, I made $100,000 today day trading. I did fantastic.
That's called
Just
Twitter,
make up
Dennis.
It's
called Twitter. It's called Twitter.
It's called
Dennis.
Twitter. That's what they do on
Yeah.
Twitter.
I want to pivot real quick here. A big complaint about this rally has been, the narrow breadth with the mega cap tech leading us the way. IWM, hey, it woke up. Nice move over the last week and a half. But financials, they're acting okay here, starting to participate in the rally. But we don't know how to integrate AI into bank stocks. So tell us, what you've seen so far into the financials and perhaps what you see in the future.
I love it, Joel. So you mentioned KRE, regional banks, the Russell. When I see the Dow and the Russell moving together, I know XLF is probably moving, our financials ETF, and regional banks, KRE, are probably moving. When they're moving together, I know I've got good harmony and likely good follow through. And finally, what is carry? 20% of the Russell. So I know that when carry gets out of the way, the Russell can start to play catch up to the big three indices. Market breadth, and I'm going to come at it from a very different way. I've been inspired by Dennis. I don't care about market breadth, never have, because if I think about the 500 stocks within the S&P, the top 14, 15 are where most of the percentage weighting is at. So that means the other 400 plus, frankly, don't matter. So when I'm looking at market breadth, we've never really needed full participation. I need participation from tech, financials, and healthcare for the S&P. Healthcare is still a bit of a dumpster fire. Financials are starting to wake up, and tech has been the engine that's been driving everything. But interestingly enough, tech XLK is weighted heavily in the NAS, in the S&P, and in the Dow. So I don't care who's participating broadly. I want to know that those players are doing what they need to do, because that's the engine, right? When I lift the hood on the S&P, I see tech, I see financials, I see healthcare.
Gold and bonds. I mean, the bond market. I mean, we've been waiting for the 134 level. Is long away. We don't know what the Fed pivot is. We don't know what the information. But just talk about your positioning in the gold and the bond market.
I tell you, and this might be a little counter what we've been seeing, but if bonds like to play a game of chicken with the Federal Reserve, usually about 6 months out, right? So we're in the September contract. We can look at the DEES contract. When I look at those two, I'm thinking, like a lot of us, are we going to see a pivot in November, December? And at what point do bond yields start to fall? And right now, I'd like to get long bonds. I know it's a ridiculously tricky position because we don't know if we're going to get a rate hike in July or not. But if bonds are past July and they're thinking November, December, I'd really like to get long bonds. And if that drops the real yields, that chasm between the nominal yield of a bond and the rate of inflation, I want to get long gold too. I'm just waiting for my spot. I've sunk into it today, but we've got this grenade called the FOMC press conference at 2:30, and who knows what's going to come out of Powell's mouth.
The only problem for
the
bears is silver lining market here will find a way. Even if he says a little bit hawkish, they're like, oh, he's just talking tough because the markets are up. He's not going to really be tough. I mean, we are fully in this. And again, I tweeted this out last night, Raghee. But I mean, if you were in the bear camp a month ago, you had some, you had IWM, which wasn't too far from the lows. S&P had really been kind of treading water here. Qs were in a full bull market. You couldn't argue that. But I mean, now you've got broad participation here. You have other stocks picking up the slack, value names picking up the slack, IWM coming out of its range and breaking up to the outside. It's a tough time to be a bear now.
I think the one thing that we stopped talking about collectively is we don't talk about recession. And I kind of thought to myself, what's going to happen if we end up with a recession? So Powell and company hike us right into one. Labor productivity rises and it forces them to have a cut. However we take the path, it's good for stocks. And of course, we know the stock market is not the economy. So however I want to slice it, and like you mentioned, if we've got KRE on the move, that's going to help the Russell. If XLF is on the move, S&P is going to be benefited. If XLV starts participating, forget about it. We're firing on all three cylinders.
The only problem,
Why-
XLV's got problems today with UNH, but that's a story for.
Why do
10
rates
minutes
always
ago.
have to go up or down? Why can't they just be steady? Why can't people get 4.5%, 5% on their money? I mean, the economy's doing okay under the current situation. Everyone's speculating, oh, pause, cut, this, that, and the other thing. What's wrong with having stable interest rates for an extended period of time, as long as the economy holds in there?
Joel, what are you thinking using this kind of common sense and patience? We're in the stock market.
We need to knock the common sense out of
What
ourselves.
is going on? Someone check Joel. I don't know what's happened. Absolutely. But we have a twitchy monetary policy. Look at G7, G8. They can't help themselves. They've got access to the levers and dials, and they've got to do what they do. And it's going to ultimately support equities. But Joel, I'm a little worried about you.
Back in my
I
case.
worry about him too.
I mean, I think we all worry a little about
I
Joel.
worry
But
about him all the time.
Raghee Horner, Managing Director of Futures at Simpler Trading. Always great to have you on. The chat always giving you great love. Definitely give her a follow and check out Countdown Trader. Check out also the pre-market show that she does too. She has some great ones. Check them out, team. All right. Have a great one. Take care. All right, let's get back to the action. Let's take a look at, of course, we're about to get PPI to come in and different numbers to come in today. Of course, it's going to be one of those days where we got to stay on our toes. Let's take a look here. Year over year outlook for PPI at 1.5, prior being 2.3. When we take a look at core month over month, is expected to be pretty much in line. Same thing as the prior reading, 0.2. And then core PPI year over year expected to come down 0.3. So we'll see what happens there. Prior reading at 3.2, consensus at 2.9 here. We'll see when it hits the tape.
I'm so discouraged after that, just taking it back to, reading that article that Andrew sent me there on Twitter about, this, shrinkflation, and they calculated in the CPI to be 0.01% a year. And I'm just like, these numbers are all just fugazi. You wonder if they're almost made up. I mean, how can they be that inept? How can they really be that, poor at their job to actually think? Do they actually really believe this? Do they really believe? I'm going to read it right from their conclusion on this paper, and you can show it. It says, however, the impact of product downsizing at all commodity and services level is minimal, with an average annual effect of 0.01% per year. So while consumers may notice shrinkflation at the grocery store, it has very small impact the overall inflation picture they face. Well, if you're noticing it, I will never notice 0.01%. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm never going to notice. And I noticed what else too. So
Dennis, 829. Get out of here.
Okay, yeah,
get out of here.
Rant over. It's all
get
just
over
ridiculous.
it. Get out of here.
They're just this is wrong. They're just flat out wrong.
All right,
the truth is they don't care.
We're up 750.
Or they do care, Mitch, and they're just flat out.
Dennis, you're going to get picked off here, and you're going to blame us. You got less
Okay,
than 30 seconds. Get out of here.
Wide. I don't even think it's going to move.
You don't think it's going to move? Okay, here's the setup.
It's going to go up, probably. It's going to go dip. Oh, then they're like, oh, when we buy dips.
All right, 44.28 stands as your pre-market high. There's nothing there. There's absolutely no resistance, no daily resistance until we get to 44.54. On the downside, the pre-market low, 44.13. That's close enough to the high close at 44.15.75 for me, where I would be protecting profits here. Protecting profits if we break that level. On the upside, we take out the pre-market high. Not much there. Mitch, give us a preview.
All right, I've given the numbers at least. I'm really going to look to see. The thing that I think is interesting is PPI is supposed to come down about, what is it? Now we're looking at 0.8. So 2.3 down to 1.5. That's the year over year reading. Let's see what happens here. Does it come in closer towards that 2.3 or below the 1.5 reading? Of course, everybody looks at PPI as kind of more of a leading indicator than CPI. So let's see if the market does move off of this. And of course, the core PPI reading is expected to come right in line, prior 0.2. Month over month outlook is what we're talking about. Year over year outlook is supposed to come down on core PPI. We'll see what happens when the news hits. All right, there we go. We're starting to get it here, and I can show you guys it right from the Benzinga Pro.
Yeah,
here.
there's muted price action here. Muted price action. Dennis was calling there.
We haven't even moved.
You're already back? Oh, man, I thought we got rid of you for 5 minutes.
PPI was down 0.3% versus the 0.1% estimate. So I don't know. I don't even think they care.
All right, well, let me get the numbers here. Year over year outlook for the PPI was at 1.1 versus 1.5. Definitely comes down a significant amount. US core PPI year over year at 2.8 versus 2.9. Good look there. Prior was 3.2. The month over month coming right in line on core PPI. And then on PPI month over month coming in at a negative 0.3 versus a negative 0.1 estimate there. We'll see what happens if this does move the markets. What are you seeing, Joel?
I saw a pullback to mid-range on the session to the tick at 2050. That's one of the things when we get up here in no man's land. There's really not much else to go on in the S&Ps, and that was at 2050. So we'll call that 4420. I will say all systems go to the north if we hold 4420. Meanwhile, it was firm at 4428. We got a little bit of a spike up, but there were some patient sellers there. And why not? If you've been long this whole rally, you don't know what Powell's going to be saying or doing if he wants to take a little air out of this market. And someone made this point, and I don't know if it was actually on, I think it was on CNBC, and I actually had it on this morning along with Charles. And this lady said, if Powell wants to get tough, if he wants to show, a little bit of grit, that he would go a quarter point here. He would say, I'm convinced Dennis is right about shrinkflation, and and we need to go. But the Fed funds tool, right, which we all live and die on, is what, down to 10% now or 5%, and he's going to pause. I think it's time for Powell to step up and do his job, go another quarter point, because I don't think he's fooling anybody. I think we still got some more inflation.
Yeah, CME Fed tool over 90% here. It would be a very surprising result if he did that, Joel. So I think that's something that we'll definitely keep an eye out for. I don't think I'd be in that camp, at least on this report. But is he going to leave on the table that he could hike rates at the next meeting? I think he'll still do that one, where he'll say that, yeah, this is not an official pause. We can still hike rates if we need to.
He wants to have the soft landing victory parade here. So, you got to think it's all political too. It's not just about, the market's up so I can raise rates. There's all that aspect to think about it here too. So I agree with Mitch. I don't think he's going today. I think he may go eventually, but I don't think somebody was saying, they might pull the Canada because Canada did the surprise quarter point hike.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to do that here. Are they set up to do it if they want to do it? Sure. Is inflation in check in the real world? Hell no. The CPI is calculating 0.01% shrinkflation. So obviously it's all just nonsense. But I mean, the numbers, like to Raghee's point, those are the numbers we have to trade, the numbers that they're giving to us. Whether they're miscalculated or just flat out lying to us, there's nothing we can do about that. So we trade what's in front of us. The bots believe everything because they're told what to believe. AI isn't here yet. So, I mean, bots believe inflation's coming down. So S&Ps are going up.
We have to go with the numbers that were fed. That's what I talked about when Raghee was on. And I think that's the only thing we can go off of. Just the numbers that we see, not the numbers that we see in the grocery stores.
Yep.
The numbers that you see in this data, because that's what we have to go on as traders, right? Yes. Of course, we can talk about this at the bars. We can have great conversations with Dennis, as you can tell.
I have it right here live in front of, eventually 10,000 listeners here. So,
but the truth is, that's not going to make us an edge, right? That's not going to make us some money. And if we're fighting on that inflation isn't going away, but of course they say it is.
What was the 0.3 versus 0.1? That was the headline number.
You're seeing X food. If you're looking at CNBC, they're talking food, and so they're taking out food and energy here now.
Yeah, but
so we know energy dropped, so it's helping the numbers.
Yeah, it's helping.
So
the numbers.
You got energy going down. Food always seems to go up, but I mean, they take out the energy because it fluctuates so much. They don't want to talk X energy a lot of times.
No. All right, let's transition. Let's go to a little bit of some highlighting of the AMD event. Was this a buy the rumor, sell the news event?
Oh, yeah.
Joel was talking about that just yesterday, and it seemed like it definitely did get a hit on the event, even though they were unveiling certain products, right? Let's talk about it. So AMD definitely unveiled a new product here, the MI300X. The most advanced GPU for AI that they have and shipping to select customers this year. I thought a really important comment was when CEO Lisa Su predicted that AI accelerator market to grow from 30 billion to over 150 billion by 2027.
And Lisa Su was on CNBC too, talking AI afterwards too. I mean, why the big pop here today? So we sell off here. Is there a rating here?
Sneaky. No.
Is there a rating?
No.
Because we had the rug pull, which we say, you run up into an event, a lot of times you have the rug pull. We just had that happen with Apple. So it's the exact same thing here where it's just, the expectations is simply too high. I'm still long AMD. I didn't sell any shares. I still think it's longer. I still think it's higher longer term. Valuation stretch though. Needs a pullback. I'd love it to get back down to 110. I'd buy more.
So I have another confession to make. I did second time I listened to CNBC yesterday when Lisa Su was on because I remember her voice when she worked with me on the floor. And so I wanted to see, I listened. I wanted to listen. And I'm telling you, I know Zoltan's been trying to get a hold of her. I'm almost 100% sure that was the person I work with. But anyways,
Joel's convinced that he has a personal relationship
I like to,
with
you know
Lisa
what?
Su.
I like to know if I'm wrong. Because it was Lisa Su, and she went to MIT.
GPT, maybe they know.
I
was
doubt
Lisa
it.
Su a floor trader?
Dennis, I don't want you to complain.
I would think that would come up, like in conversation with, when she comes on CNBC. Well, you were a floor trader, you're talking.
She was
your
a
stock.
clerk. She was not a trader.
Oh, a clerk.
She was a clerk.
Okay.
Dennis, I don't want to hear from you when this is at 110 that you should have sold it at 129.
Oh yeah, I'm going to complain. You guys are my sounding board. The pessimism in me, the glass half empty guy here. Be like, why didn't I sell and rebuy it all? So you should sell today. If I had on for a trade, I would sell into this. I'll say it right now. If I had on for a trade, I would sell at 120.
But
I'm trying to hold stuff better. I'm trying to hold stuff.
Dennis,
longer.
do you have your little notepad out there? Because I'm going to give you a number in AMD that I want you to 129.
That's where you're selling.
Okay.
Are you buying?
Oh, and I'm just saying, keep an eye on it.
All right.
Okay.
The problem is when I keep an eye on my portfolio my long-term portfolio, I actually do worse. I'm better when I just don't look at it.
129.19 is your all-time closing high. You made an all-time high yesterday at 32.33. They couldn't sustain that into the close. The closing price was 129.19. Then you look at your after hours and your pre-market chart, and you got someone perched in 129 here. So that's all I'm going to give you. I don't want to hear anything else. If you want to hold on to this,
I like complaining.
All right, I think we need. I like to see a close over 129.19, and I won't just say today. I'll say if it ends the week over 129.19, then hold on. I know there could be a lot of movement in between.
It's been a good run. We went from 80 to 130 in like 5 weeks. This has been a huge run. Nvidia had a huge run too. Nvidia's trying. But again, it's stalling out right at its old high. So you want to talk a number, 419 on NVIDIA here. That's a big number. Where to get to pre-market, Joel? NVIDIA was up more than this. NVIDIA was actually up this morning. It's turned to the red. Where was NVIDIA this morning? Because I looked, it was up $2.
Yeah, it was up big.
It's
got up
around
to 414.50.
414, and we're down $5-6. So again, I think you're right. I think AMD is a ring the register day for it, to be honest. And but I'm trying to hold. I'd probably put it in the long-term portfolio, but I am talking against my book. I'm the only person, me and Joel, the only people who talk against our books. Talking against my book, I'd put it in the long-term portfolio. It's supposed to stay in there longer than 5 weeks. It's been a good one. I think it's longer, but I do think if you have it on for a trade, I'd ring the register today too.
All right, Joe. How about we get a little bit of an update on what's going on with UNH, HUM, and that situation? Are we still seeing a leak?
Yeah, I mean, you got a identifiable low. I'm not saying, like if you really, it could be one of those days where you see this pre-market low of 461.50, and you're like, man, I should have been out there at 462. But right now, the pre-market low, 461.50. $3 bounce off that. So there we go. We have that, at least a level. Is there anything, the low of the move too? Let's just give you a range here. Low of the move has been 457 to 457.59 to 461.50. To me, I'm not thinking about shorting the stock, if I was short, I'd be thinking about that entire zone, trying to buy it, trying to get it on the cheap, near the low of the move and above the pre-market high. Excuse me, S&P's
Breaking up,
leaking
thinking
here.
about it.
Yeah, S&Ps are leaking a little bit. We're holding
Yes.
44.20. And then let's go to Humana, see if we're getting a little bounce in Humana. Yeah, just a little bit of a bounce. Let's mark down the pre-market low at 468.90. And what's the low of the move going back to February? 471.56. So there are your zones here. S&Ps are now breaking down a little bit
They just
more.
realized the PPI is, it's all lies. Pre-market prep says it's all lies. Get out while the getting's good.
I mean, we also got to keep in mind, right? Option expirations coming into play, FOMC.
Quad witch. We haven't even talked about
witch,
that.
right? I think that
the
that's one thing.
rebalancing happening. S&P
Like,
Russell is next
How much
Friday.
more can this rally have? That's what I'm thinking, right? I know that I don't like to go off of indicators, but all my indicators are saying that this is
in the
soon
last
to turn
2
around
years, when your
and be
long-term
pretty
account
excessive.
starts feeling good again, Mitch, it's always a good idea to take money off the table.
Yeah, man. That's
I'm
why
like, I'm
starting-
looking at my long-term account and it's back up again near the highs, and I'm like, man, I should sell some stocks.
I will tell you guys, I did sell out of Square yesterday. I did take a pretty good portion off of Intel yesterday. Just trying to pay
Did you
myself.
listen to that number I gave you?
Holy
3386.
Intel. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell
Did
you
you
one
listen to
thing.
that
As soon
number?
as it started breaking back through that, Joel, I said, you know what? Let's pay ourselves here, because there's nothing worse than seeing a bigger trade just completely give up. And this was a
Horrible
little bit
when
of
you
a
take a
bigger
winner
one
to a
for
loser.
me.
We've all done it.
Yeah.
It sucks. Yeah, don't let that happen.
Yeah,
Can we
and I
talk
did
about-
go after a different one. What you got, Joel? What do you want to
No,
go to?
I saw a comment in the chat here about using ChatGPT to get some information.
Yeah.
And like how far does it go back?
Pretty good, Joel. I'll tell you that
Like-
much. What do you
like
want to
how
know?
far?
It can get pretty much anything right. What do you want to know? I'll test it.
Well, yeah, like does it pick up stuff from like pre-internet, like the 70s
Yeah,
and the 80s?
history. It has access to historical data.
They're
If
all going
anything-
to put us out of
If
jobs
anything,
here,
Joel,
In
you
like
don't
3
need a
years-
history teacher no more. You got
In
ChatGPT.
Okay.
In 3
All right.
years, there's no longer Joel and Dennis and Mitch on pre-market
Yeah.
prep. It'll have 3 AI bots, and the AI bots are talking in their monotone voice. It'll be like Bueller.
The thing
We
is, Dennis,
buy
it
the
won't be a
stock,
monotone
it goes
voice.
higher. We sell UNH. We believe all the labor statistics. That's what is going to be the future of pre-market prep. The future is bright.
Get to the chopper.
I think
I'm telling you, man, get to the chopper. Skynet is coming. Skynet is coming. Yeah.
All right, guys. Now, what I want to go into a different area. One area that I've already missed, but that I'm starting to grab a little bit of. I went after Love. So yesterday I grabbed a little piece of this. I've been missing the airlines run.
I was talking
This
about
has
this
been
one.
off
You
the
listen to pre-market
bottom.
prep.
I mean, I'm looking for some type of lag. I've missed
I
out
know.
on some of this move.
It hasn't moved with the others. You're right.
So,
I like the Love too. We said it
I'm
2 days
like,
ago.
you
Man, I
know.
got to start listening to this show more.
Gotta go after a little
Stop
Love.
all these relationship stuff and just listen to pre-market prep, and we make more money.
Hey, who knows, right? So I'm going after this one. Of course, the airlines have already taken off. American, UAL, DAL. Those were the 3 that I was talking about just a couple weeks ago that could get a nice lift. I was able to play DAL and UAL for a win, but then there's some news that came in on AAL, which knocked it down, stopped me out of that. And now I'm looking at these, and they're looking like they want to keep going. My biggest thing is just going to be oil, right? We heard about strategic kind of reserves could start to get filled up. So that's a concern out there. I'm keeping a close eye to see if crude gets back above 70. Today, it was at that level, right, Joel? I mean, if we take a little peek there.
Oh, it's big. It's got a bounce. It definitely. I think you're looking at a consolidation pattern. You got the 2-day bounce. It was nice. Crude can be technical. You took out last week's low by a smidgen, caught a bid 77, I think, or right at the $67 area. Keeping an eye right now, if the rallies can continue, let's keep an eye on the 70-40 area. That is your 3-day high, or your 2-day high, as well as a current high in the session. So we have found buyers in the 70s on multiple occasions in March, in early May, and then again. So that's the floor. Maybe just a trading range here. But boy, that 67 last week's low looking good in the crude oil market. The Shell news is kind of helping those stocks today a little bit, but keep an eye. Right now, you have a pair of highs at the 70-40 area if you're looking for more upside in crude oil futures.
All right, so we got a couple more news headlines to get through them. I thought no better way than then go ahead and get into TradeZero. All right, first one up we're going to get to here is a disaster stock of the day. Let's go to Raghee.
Start at the top. First, ignore ZVZZT. It's a test stock, so that's doesn't.
Well, you want to
Oh,
talk?
I want to buy that.
Toyota?
Another $7. I didn't even know that.
Well,
This
I'll
is
give
my
you
best stock all of a sudden.
Toyota definitely
This
moving.
thing was a dog 3 weeks ago. Now all of a sudden it's like the star of the portfolio. Value investing is back. Toyota's getting into EV. Oh my goodness, we never considered that Toyota could actually make EVs.
What's the news
one
today,
of the biggest
Mitch?
thing, right? I mean, it's still moving off of the news yesterday, but one of the biggest things is the competition, right? Competition level with Tesla has always been that Tesla has the better mile range, right? The longer miles, right? And now that they're going for solid state batteries, this is going to give Toyota the advantage there if it could really get this together to eventually match up to Tesla's, right? This is one thing that Tesla always says, that they have the best in, that they, have created their best batteries, and they're going to continue moving forward. Now, one stock that did move off of this Toyota news that I think is important to keep an eye out for is QuantumScape. This started to get a little bit of a lift here, of course. Why? Because what is their technology? It's solid state battery. Ooh. And so this is starting to get a nice little lift. Of course, if Toyota is going to support this technology, then some people are going to come looking to see if QS can really start going.
This is why we pay Money Mitch the big bucks. He comes up with the sleepy tech play QuantumScape. Look how sleepy that was yesterday too. Nice call, Money Mitch.
Yeah, and now
you need a pullback here. Maybe you don't. Maybe a chase. I don't know.
Oh, pullbacks, Dennis. Come on.
Yeah, I like pullbacks.
Momentum. You're talking about momentum. It's got some momentum going to the upside here.
Yeah.
And sometimes on plays like this, you just gotta nibble.
Can I just say this up portfolio is looking awesome here today. I own Toyota. I own AMD. I own ALB. I love this value market all of a sudden here because it's like going over on some of my stocks here. So
THC starting to show up, baby.
I'm telling you, we gave you that one there.
Oh, who was talking about THC this morning?
That's the healthcare, the hospitals benefit. You got to say if those non-urgent surgeries are going to happen, Medicare stocks get hit, hospitals are going to benefit from that. So it's a little bit of common sense working on that trade.
All right, we'll see what other is moving here. I see ALB showing up. I'm keeping an eye out to see what happens with lithium names, with ALB, of course. I'm keeping an eye out.
How's your ALB doing, Dennis?
I'm up in that thing now. That was
not
the
looking too bad.
I did the Netflix, Joel. I bought it at 260. It was a horrible buy, and then I tripled down at 180. Never frown average down works again.
Kathy's way, baby.
Usually it doesn't work. But it's up.
You know what? You got to make a distinction here, Dennis, because people that listen in occasionally, you're talking about, and this is one thing that's really differentiated you from a lot of different traders, is investing and trading. That UNH, it was actually a good thing that you lost money on that because your radar was up, right?
I made money overall on that losing trade. By just quickly flipping, quickly getting short a couple of the peers, and quickly cutting most of the loss on the stock itself. So, Buddy at Bright, got to give him props there too. Fantastic traders, and he's like, "This is news." Like, he bought UNH, I bought UNH, and he's like, "This is news."
Would he come on the show? I'm getting the hell out. Dennis,
what's that?
Would he come on the show?
Cindy?
Yeah,
probably. He's an
ask
awesome
him
trader.
today.
He's like he can look at the tape after hours. Like, and I'm pretty good at it too, but just looks at it as like, well, that's upgraded and that's downgraded. He's like, with the Urban and the, like, without having it, you know, with the Urban and the Capri the other day, he's like, that went offered and that went bid at the exact same time. That's a note. And I'm like, you're right. I'm like, when they go bid offer, because it's a bot that gets the note, and then they go buy Urban, sell shorts Capri. So we can tell just by the trading action. Well, that's downgraded, that's upgraded. That's how you tell without having the note. That's called tape reading, folks.
These are some skills that you have to work on, right,
We
to
can bring
develop,
Seth
right?
in.
It doesn't. It's not
20-year
something
trading
that's
veteran,
easy.
Great trading, excellent trader.
Now let's keep going. Let's go to the downside action here. I did want to talk a little bit about a couple companies here. Let's go to MVIS. I know that a lot of people have been watching this one run as of late, but it did the good old public offering as Microvision stock falls here, announcing a 75 million public offering of the common stock. And just to mention, there is a 30-day option here for underwriters to purchase an additional 11.25 million shares.
We have a price?
No price specifically out given. I'm pretty sure this was at markets close yesterday. I'll kind of confirm that in just a second here. But
Dennis is going to say, you know, this had a nice rally up over $8, and now you're getting a little bit of a discount here. And
I don't trade this stuff.
No?
No, I don't trade this. I mean, it's pulled back 50% retracement. Sure,
There
2
you
to
go.
8, 5. 5 is a logical bounce point. I don't know if you're going to get all the way down there.
Nah,
I like
no
that.
way.
But it's
No way.
small. I don't trade the small stuff.
you know, it's funny. I was actually talking a lot about your 50% retracement levels that you guys talk about often yesterday on our book club.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about fib retracement levels, and then everybody could see it on the 50% retracement, how much it works. I was showing multiple charts. So shout out to the book club and there.
Remember,
the 50%
I
retracement.
can teach you my technical analysis book in 10 seconds. Here it is. Support, no, 5 seconds. Support, resistance, trends, 50% retracements. That's all you need.
Is that the book I
Less
sent
than
you
5
with about
seconds.
six? With about
Technical analysis taught you in
That's all
5
that's in
seconds
here,
on
bro.
pre-market prep.
That's all that's in here, bro.
That's all
Dennis,
you
is
need.
that
And then
the
there's just
book
it's
I
all
sent you?
Derivatives of that.
All right, what else
say?
do we got in these filters?
What is Joel
All
talking? We're
right,
not listening. Joel.
300 pages of 2-3 text. 2-3 lines there, guys.
Support, resistance, trends, 50%.
All right,
Forwards,
guys. Let's
that's
talk
all
about.
you need. You don't need any of this oscillators. Throw your Bollinger Bands out the window. That's what you need. That'll work. That works most of the time.
Okay, let's get to the last conversation. Just overall action. Of course, we've seen so many stocks like Adobe take off. We've seen stocks like Nvidia, and Nvidia had a pretty good day yesterday. Even though some stocks were struggling, like AMD was struggling, Nvidia was actually pretty strong. At least I felt like. You could see it never even went really down below kind of yesterday's action, the prior day's action. What are you guys thinking about that chart on Nvidia? It just seems like it can't stop, won't stop. I'm probably the few people that actually made money shorting Nvidia yesterday, but not something I recommend.
Shorting those rocket ships.
Not something I
I
recommend.
think it's topped out. I'm going to say it again. I'm still going with it. The 419 holds. I don't think it makes a new high. The 419.
Why don't you
holds.
sell your AMD then?
I know I should.
Yeah,
Joel,
wouldn't you
Joel,
sell
Joel
AMD
wants to
then?
break into
I
my
know,
account
I don't know.
and sell my AMD for me. He's like, you're up like 35. I don't even know what I'm up in that thing. Like 35% in like 3-4 weeks.
You know, I know what Dennis is going to do. It's going to pull back a little bit. He's going to put it in the wife's account.
She gets the losers. We just transfer this over. Here's a little switcheroo.
All right.
She's got the Amazon. That's doing good for her. She's got the Amazon.
Amazon got a couple mentions yesterday.
Actually, her RSP is doing better than mine, I think.
So with Amazon yesterday, I thought it would get a little bit of a lift. It did get a mention multiple times in the AMD report that Amazon's looking to use some of their chips for their AI. So would this give Amazon the lift? That's one thing that I was looking at yesterday. It tried to push, couldn't really get above those highs. What do you see on the chart, Joel?
Well, it did have some news about AWS being down a little bit, and people can ask,
AWS was down for a little bit.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just, Amazon makes a new high of the move, and I'm going to just kind of do the same things. And also, I'll make a quick comment here on NVIDIA. Amazon has been a little bit of a laggard. Has not gone anywhere near the 50% retracement like almost all these other stocks have. I think Google's even surpassed it. So I'd be at least holding out, for a little bit more on the upside. If you're looking a little bit shorter term, you got a double close at the high of the move, 26.64 and 26.57. You're trading above that now. You get a close over 127 and just keep things going here. But overall, it's been a laggard on this rally. And then for you NVIDIA traders, and this is the number, because like when charts get these gap ups like this, I'm just like, oh, like what, oh, I can't buy it. It's going to go fill the gap. Well, I can't short it. I'm going to get my face ripped off. But I look at the all-time closing high, and it made a big improvement yesterday from 401.11 to 410.22. So for right now, I'm using that as a, if I was long and I was even contemplating it, I'd be like, hey, what happens at 410.22 today? And using that a level, and then look at it later in the day and see where it ends up on a closing basis for the session. All-time high, interestingly, was made on the day of the earnings and not yesterday. All-time high, real close to that 420 number, 419.38.
All right, we'll see what happens there. I'm going to go ahead and pull this down. You guys can definitely check out TradeZero, put it up there, the link, so you guys can check out, of course, and get 3 months free of the TradeZero flagship software. Let's wrap up the market, Joel. Let's go ahead and pull up the ES, how you're seeing it, last levels for us.
Okay, here we go, folks. We're down mid-range on the session, or below mid-range at 44.20. So I think it's important to catch a bid here at 44.20. Take out the pre-market high. There were firm sellers there on the pop. So I think with the Fed meeting and the Fed decision coming out later today, I think even if there's some days when it takes out the pre-market high, much more enthusiastic on the long side. Today, I'd be a little bit more tempered on the downside. Not, the close is pretty much near the pre-market low of 44.13. So not looking for any major breakdown until we take out that 44.13. Let's see here. What else? I just want to talk about 3 stocks that I'm going to talk about in more detail on Pre-Market Prep Plus. I'm having Taz Kujalji from Wedbush, and
Nice.
he's going to give commentary on 3 stocks, and they're good stocks. Palo Alto Networks, it just made a new all-time high yesterday.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Yep. And the other one, which has been a little bit of a laggard, but has been catching up a little bit, CrowdStrike. Finding good support. I mean, if you're looking for some of these growth stocks that
I like the CrowdStrike too. I think that's setting up and hooking. I think that's ready to go as well.
You know what I want to ask? Joel, do me a favor. Ask why they hate Sentinel-1 so much.
That's the third stock, Mitch. You are absolutely brilliant.
I
want to find out, right? Why do they hate it so much?
It's coming out the lows. They're starting to love it again. They're quick.
I don't know about love.
3-day rule.
I mean, yeah, you got an undercut and rally type of move there, but is it going to close that gap? I mean, come on, that would be a monster gap.
Oh, why not?
We're in a bull market.
That is true.
Gap, downside
that
gaps close quickly. They're trying. They're halfway there.
They're halfway there. That is true. I think 50% retracement, though, tells me be careful here because at least from the swing high to the swing low, 50%. Actually, 50% is a little bit higher. If you grab it from like that 22 high to the low, it's kind of closer towards 17, 18. So we'll see if it gets up there.
Okay. All right. Everyone have a good day. And I might, depending how the day goes, I might hop on at 2:00 today on premarketprep.com and cover the price action and really, it's not the Fed decision. It's like what Pump and Powell has to say. And I guess I'm the only one on Wall Street.
And they're beating inflation, even if they're cooking the books.
All right. Everyone have a good day. We'll talk to you later on. We'll see you in a few minutes.
All right. We'll see what happens.
Dennis,
you have a good one.
Stuff.
Go do what you do best, my friend.
Fed meeting, 2:00. Probably buying the dip.
Go yell about some shrinkflation.
Dip, though, man. Mitch, it's been like this bull. This has been a big move. What's the IWM up?
I'll tell you right now, Dennis. You know how everyone talks about winners? Well, I'll talk about a loser today.
Give it to me.
Guess who is shorting Tesla right now?
Are you trying on the day 13?
This guy.
Is it 13 days in a row? Will this be 14
I'm
days in a row?
down
I forget. I
about
lost count now.
1.84%. The biggest level that I'm looking at is the gap close for 246. So 264. So there's a level here around 264 that I'm looking to see if we can hold. 265 is my risk right now. I'm just going to stick it to that, and we'll see what happens.
I'm with you. I'm going to call it right here today. I think today is the day that Tesla closes red. Today is the day.
We will see, guys.
I don't know position. Just trying to call it. It's been too much, too fast. It's ridiculous. It's up 13 days in a row. Today is the day it turns red. Today is the rug pull. Why can't it be today?
We'll find out. I'll tell you one thing. I'm probably the only ballsy one.
As hard as you can fight on this one. It is the definition of what not to do, fighting that trend.
Yeah. The key, though, know you're out. That's always the key. No matter what.
Thing makes another new high, which it's doing right now.
Have a good one. You guys enjoy it.
I don't intend to have a position on this thing.
You guys enjoy it. We'll have a great one. Take care. Dennis, always have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow, my friend. Keep up with Dennis Dick, of course. You guys can keep up with all my action on, of course, live trading. That's coming up next. Find out what I do with that swing trade, right? At least it's a swing trade, not like kind of day trading size. So I can handle a little bit of hit here. I'm down about 1.76% on this. I can add to the position. I just got about a third of my position of what I want to establish here. So I'm going to be coming after it. You guys want to check it out? Come over to live trading. That's coming up next. You don't got to miss it. And check out, of course, the book club. We had a great conversation last night. We've moved the book club to Tuesday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys want to join on Tuesday nights, join the book club. This is where we really go more into education than more just talking about stocks. Like yesterday, we were talking about fib retracement levels and moving averages, how you can use them, how I use them, and of course, what you guys can always learn from me. I'll see you guys over on live trading. That's starting up next. Don't go anywhere. Of course, we have a great show for you guys today. That's coming. We'll see what happens with Zunaid, Ryan. We'll see what happens in my small account challenge, right? Can I bounce back and keep it going? Almost up 20%, trying to get to that 20% in the small account challenge. And let's keep pushing. You guys smash a like. I'll see you next time and keep pushing. You guys know what it's all about. It's about pushing your skills to the next level. We never know if we're going to be right. I don't know if I'm going to be right in Tesla today. The only thing I can do is keep risk preservation and try to go about it with a processed approach. We'll see you guys on live trading. That's starting up right now.